I don't even know where to start with this. 3 days ago, I thought I had a normal marriage. Not perfect, but stable. The kind where you complain about bills together, argue over dumb stuff like whose turn it is to buy groceries, then fall asleep with your feet touching under the blanket anyway. Now I'm sitting in my car outside a motel at 2:14 a.m., staring at my wife's location on my phone, realizing I might not have known her at all. My wife, Jenna, and I have been together for 8 years, married for 5. We met when we were both broke and working at the same restaurant. She was loud, funny, impossible to ignore. I was the quiet guy in the kitchen who burned himself every shift because I kept getting distracted watching her talk. She used to call me her safe place. That phrase makes me sick now. For most of our relationship, I genuinely thought we were solid. We bought a small house 2 years ago. We talked about kids constantly. We even started looking at names last month. But if I'm being honest, something changed in her around 6 months ago. At first it was subtle. She stopped reaching for me in bed, stopped sending random texts during the day, stopped looking at me when I talked. It sounds small, but when you've loved someone for nearly a decade, you notice every tiny shift in gravity. I asked her about it once while we were making dinner. "Are we okay?" I remember asking. She laughed, actually laughed. "You're so dramatic," she said while cutting peppers. "Not everything means something." Then she kissed my cheek like I was a child asking a stupid question. I ignored the feeling in my stomach after that. Big mistake. A few weeks later, she started taking her phone everywhere. Bathroom, shower, even outside to take the trash out. One night I woke up around 3 a.m. and noticed she wasn't in bed. I found her downstairs sitting in the dark living room with her phone's brightness turned almost all the way down. The second she saw me, she jumped, like genuinely panicked. "What are you doing?" I asked. "Nothing," she snapped, way too fast. Her phone screen disappeared before I could see it. I remember just standing there half asleep, confused, while she suddenly got angry at me. "Why are you creeping around the house in the middle of the night?" I actually apologized. That's the part messing with my head now. I apologized to her. The next morning she acted completely normal. Made coffee, kissed me goodbye before work, told me she loved me. But that night I noticed something else. She changed her phone password. And 2 days later, I found a receipt in her coat pocket for a restaurant I've never been to. Dinner for 2, $184. On a Tuesday night, she told me she was working late. What really destroyed me wasn't even the receipt, it was the handwriting at the bottom. "Hope you smile more next time." And underneath it, a phone number.
I stared at that receipt for probably 10 straight minutes. I kept trying to come up with explanations because your brain does that when you love someone. It protects you from the obvious. Maybe it was a coworker. Maybe the waiter was flirting. Maybe the number belonged to a manager. Maybe I was losing my mind. But deep down, I already knew something was wrong. The weirdest part? My hands weren't shaking. I always thought if I ever caught someone cheating, I'd explode immediately. Instead, I just felt cold, like my body knew before my brain did. When Jenna got home that night, she acted completely normal again. Tossed her purse on the counter, kicked off her shoes, complained about traffic. Then she walked over and kissed me. I almost flinched. "You okay?" she asked. "Yeah," I lied. I shoved the receipt back in her coat pocket before she came in. I wanted to see if she'd notice. She did. About 20 minutes later, while we were watching TV, I saw her glance toward the hallway where her coat was hanging. Then she casually got up. "Going to shower," she said. But instead of the bathroom, she stopped by the coat rack first. I watched her check the pocket, and for a split second, pure panic crossed her face, gone almost instantly. That's when I knew this wasn't in my head. She came back smiling too hard. "You've been quiet lately," she said. The irony almost made me laugh. "Just tired." She studied me for a second like she was trying to read whether I knew something. Then she leaned against me and whispered, "You know I love you, right?" That sentence hit differently now. Not comforting, calculated, like she was checking whether the lie still worked. The next few days were hell. Once you suspect something, every little detail became evidence. She started putting her phone face down constantly. She suddenly cared about going to the gym after never stepping inside one for years. She bought expensive lingerie she never wore around me, and she kept picking fights over nothing. One night she got angry because I forgot to switch the laundry. Not annoyed, angry. "You never help me with anything," she snapped. I just stared at her because I'd literally spent the entire weekend repainting our guest room for her. "You've been distant for months," I finally said quietly. She rolled her eyes. "Oh my God, here we go again. No, seriously, what's going on with you?" And then came the part that really messed with my head. She started crying, immediately, like a switch flipped. "I can't believe you think I'm some horrible person," she whispered. I remember feeling guilty instantly, which makes me feel pathetic now. She walked into the bedroom crying while I sat there wondering if I was the problem. That's how twisted things had gotten. The next morning she apologized, made me breakfast, had sex with me for the first time in weeks, and right in the middle of it, while she was kissing me, her phone buzzed on the nightstand. I saw her eyes flick toward it, just for half a second, but it was enough. After she fell asleep, I looked at the phone screen. The message preview only showed 6 words. Last night was worth every risk. My stomach dropped so hard I thought I was going to throw up. But the worst part? The contact name wasn't a man's name. It was saved as Melissa Work.
I didn't sleep that night. I just lay there next to her, listening to her breathing like it belonged to a stranger. Melissa Work. That name kept repeating in my head like a broken alarm. At first, I told myself it had to be innocent, a coworker, a friend, something explainable. But then I remembered how Jenna reacted every time I even mentioned her workplace lately. Defensive, irritated, like I was intruding on something I wasn't allowed to see. Around 5 a.m., I quietly got up and went to the kitchen. I opened my laptop. I don't even know what I was hoping to find. I just started digging. Her email, social media, old accounts I knew her passwords to from years ago when we were that couple who shared everything. Except nothing was shared anymore. Password changed. Password changed. Password changed. It felt like every door I used to have access to was slammed shut one by one. Then I tried something simple. Her location history. And there it was. 3 nights ago. Downtown motel district. Not work. Not gym. Not anything she told me. My hands went numb. I sat there staring at the screen, thinking, this is it. This is real. But I still needed proof, something undeniable, because part of me stupidly still wanted to believe I was misreading everything. That's when I noticed her laptop sitting on the couch. She always left it logged in, always. I opened it, and the second I saw the browser tabs, I knew my life was about to split into before and after. There were messages open. Not just one conversation, multiple. One with Melissa Work, one with someone saved as A, and one completely unsaved number just labeled with a heart emoji. I clicked Melissa first, and what I saw made my chest physically tighten. It wasn't just flirting, it was planning, schedules, meetups, excuses. Tell him you're working late again. I can get the room this time. Same place as last week? Same place as last week. My throat went dry. Then I saw something worse. A photo. It was Jenna, taken in a hotel mirror. Not alone. The angle was wrong, but I could see another person's arm around her waist. I closed the laptop immediately. Not because I didn't want to see more, because I couldn't breathe. I sat there in the dark for a long time, just trying to process what I was actually looking at.
Then I heard footsteps behind me. Slow, bare feet on wood. I didn't turn around. I already knew she was awake. "Why are you up?" she asked softly. That soft voice, the one she always used when she wanted control of the situation. I kept my eyes on the table. I couldn't sleep. Silence. Then I heard her walk closer, closer. She saw the laptop. I didn't need to look to feel her change. The air in the room shifted completely. "What did you do?" she said. Not scared, not guilty, angry. And right there, I understood something I wasn't ready to accept. This wasn't going to be a confession. It was going to be a war.
You create stories in your head and then convince yourself they're real. I just stared at her. It was like watching someone try to rewrite reality in real time. "I saw the messages," I said. "The hotel photos, everything." A pause. Then she smiled. Not a guilty smile, a tired one. "You went through my private things, and now you're building a narrative." That word hit me wrong. Narrative. Like this was fiction I was inventing. I felt my chest tightening again. "Jenna," I said, trying to stay calm, "I saw you with someone else." She finally pushed off the counter, and for the first time, her voice sharpened. "Do you hear yourself right now? You're accusing me of cheating because you're insecure and bored?" That's when I lost control for a second. "Bored?" I snapped. "There's a fucking hotel photo." She didn't even flinch. That could be anyone. Silence. Just heavy, suffocating silence. Then she added something worse. "You're really going to ruin our marriage over screenshots you don't even understand?" That's when I realized what she was doing. She wasn't defending herself. She was reframing me as unstable, as the irrational one, as someone not trustworthy enough to even interpret reality. And for a moment, just a moment, it actually worked on me, because I hated how calm she was, how composed, how certain she sounded. Then she walked past me and grabbed her phone. "I'm going to bed," she said. "We can talk when you're acting normal." "Normal?" I repeated. She stopped at the hallway, didn't turn around. "You've been off for months. Maybe look at yourself before you destroy everything." And then she went upstairs, just like that, leaving me standing there with a shaking realization. Either I had just uncovered the truth, or I was slowly being convinced I was insane. And that's when I noticed her phone buzzing on the counter again. Another message lighting up the screen with the same name that changed everything. "Melissa Work, are you alone?" I didn't move for a few seconds. Just stood there, staring at her phone like it was a live grenade. "Are you alone?" Same name, same contact. This time, it wasn't in my head anymore. It was right in front of me, glowing on the kitchen counter like it wanted me to see it. I picked it up. The screen lit up instantly, no password this time. She hadn't locked it. That alone made my stomach drop harder than anything before. Because people don't forget security like that unless they assume they won't need it. Or they assume no one will dare check. I opened the thread, and everything went quiet in my head. No thoughts, just noise. Messages stacked on top of each other. "You told him yet? He's still clueless. I miss you. Stop pretending at home. Same place tomorrow. Don't overthink it." Then one message that made my fingers go cold. "She won't suspect anything. He never does." I had to put the phone down for a second. I actually had to breathe like I'd been underwater too long. Behind me, upstairs, I heard her moving. Normal sounds. Water running, cabinet opening, like nothing in the world was collapsing downstairs. I picked the phone back up. Scrolled further. There were photos. Not explicit, not anything like that. Worse, in a different way. Coffee shops, parking garages, hotel hallways, her smiling in places she never told me she was. And in every single one of them, she looked lighter. Like I only existed in the version of her life she wanted to escape. Then I saw something that didn't fit. A message from Jenna herself. Not to defend me, not to explain anything, but to the other person. Just be patient, I'll handle him. I felt something shift inside my chest at that line. Handle him. Like I wasn't a husband, like I was a situation. I heard footsteps on the stairs. Slow, deliberate. She was coming down. I locked the phone and set it exactly where it was before. When she entered the kitchen, she looked at me instantly. Not at the phone. At me. Like she was checking damage. "Why are you still up?" she asked. Same tone as before. Controlled, measured. But now I could hear it differently. It wasn't calm. It was practiced. "I couldn't sleep," I said again. She walked over to the counter, opened the fridge, grabbed water. Didn't mention the phone, didn't look at it, not even once. That's when I realized something worse than betrayal was happening. She didn't think I knew. Or she did and didn't care. She closed the fridge, finally looked at me, and smiled faintly. "You should get some rest. You're starting to imagine things again." Then she walked back upstairs like she hadn't left her entire double life sitting unlocked on the counter. And I stood there, holding the phone again, realizing something I wasn't ready to admit. She wasn't just cheating. She was confident I would never be believed. And that meant she had done this before, successfully. Then the phone lit up again in my hand. New message. Unknown number this time. Only 3 words. Don't tell him.
That message sat there like a weight I couldn't drop. Different number, same energy, same secrecy. At that point, it wasn't confusion anymore. It was structure, a system, a pattern I was only now stepping into the middle of. I went upstairs quietly, not to confront her, not yet. I needed clarity before emotion took over everything. She was already in bed when I entered the room, back turned, phone under the pillow like always now. "Everything okay?" she asked without turning around. Too fast, too rehearsed. "Yeah," I said. I sat on my side of the bed but didn't lie down, just watched her back. Minutes passed. Silence stretched until it stopped feeling like silence and started feeling like pressure. Then she spoke again. "You've been weird lately." I almost smiled. That word again, weird. Not hurt, not concerned, not "let's fix this," just labeling me, like a problem she was diagnosing instead of a partner she was losing. "I saw your messages," I said, calmly. No reaction, not even a flinch. That told me everything. "You're going to keep doing this?" she asked, finally, still not turning around. "You're going to keep pretending nothing is happening?" I replied. She sighed, a long, tired, irritated sigh. Then she rolled over and looked at me, eyes steady, completely controlled. "I'm not cheating on you," she said, direct, clean, no hesitation. It should have sounded convincing, but after everything I'd seen, it sounded rehearsed. "So explain the hotel photos," I said. She didn't even blink. "You saw edited screenshots and decided to destroy your marriage over it." There it was again, same strategy, not denial of events, denial of reality itself. I felt my jaw tighten. "I read your messages." Silence. For the first time, I saw a shift, small, almost invisible, but real. A micro-expression, a flicker. Then she recovered instantly. "Which messages?" she asked, too calm, too precise. I pulled out my phone and showed her the thread. Her eye scanned it, slowly, carefully, like she was reading a script she already knew. When she finished, she handed it back. "This is fake," she said. That was it. No emotion, no anger, just finality, like she was closing a file. I stared at her. "You're seriously going to tell me I imagined this?" She reached out and touched my arm, that familiar gesture, the one that used to calm me down. Now it felt like control. "I think you need help," she said softly. And that line, those exact words, hit harder than any confession could have, because it reframed everything. Not her actions, my perception, my sanity. I pulled my arm away. "I'm going to find out the truth," I said. That's when her expression changed for the first time. Not fear, annoyance, like I was becoming inconvenient. "Then do it," she said quietly. "But don't expect me to stay while you sabotage us." And then she turned off the light, like the conversation was over. But I couldn't sleep, because I finally understood something terrifying. She wasn't trying to hide the truth anymore. She was trying to make sure that even if I found it, I wouldn't be trusted. And somewhere deep in the house, her phone buzzed again, one last message lighting up the dark. "Meeting tonight, same place. He's getting suspicious."